Hello, welcome to my first YouTube video. I hope you're having a wonderful day today, and if you're not, I hope this video can bring you a little bit of comfort. So this is my first video on my YouTube channel. A quick rundown of it is I don't want to have a specific niche just yet. I have lots of interests and passions that I just want to make videos for so I can have other people who have those same interests and passions watch those videos. I like anime, I'm into bullet journaling, I really just like making or creating anything, creative writing to drawing or art. I like ASMR or just sit down talking videos like this one. And as of right now, I'm very interested in reading, as you can see with Where the Crawdads Sing. So today's video, I've actually tried recording on multiple occasions. This is probably my third time trying to record this, so let's hope this one is the one. Before I had technical difficulties, I had lots of background noises, I ran out of storage, so let's hope this one is the one that's uploaded. Basically, this video was inspired by my English teacher where we would read different books in class and have discussions so we can learn other people's point of view on how they saw and interpreted certain characters. So in the description box down below, there will be a Google form that I made, all the questions I made up. Feel free to watch this video, then answer the questions, watch this video. Basically, I'll be going through and giving my point of view on the questions. Of course, there's no right answers. If you haven't read the book yet, this will be full of spoilers, so I very much recommend picking up your copy at a local bookstore. I got this at Books A Million. With COVID and everything, it's very hard to participate in book clubs as of now or getting out and talking to people, but I really love the idea of sitting down and just discussing a good book, so I thought these videos would be a great place to start. The first question is, what quotes did you like or stuck out to you and why? If you see me looking down, it's because my laptop, I'm looking down to read the quotes and the questions. So my favorite quote is, of all the ragged love she'd known from a wayward family, none had felt like this. And this quote was simply iconic to me as someone who's came from a difficult household, and anyone who has came from a difficult household, I think this quote is very relatable. It has the type of love and romance that we all hope to gain from, and the hope that we won't just be repeating our parents or family members' past mistakes, and hoping that there is something greater out there. And this quote right here just encapsulated all of that perfectly to me. My next quote was said by Tate. I won't do it, Kai, because I love you. This was on page 135, and I absolutely love Tate's character. I think he was done so well, so amazing. And this quote right here just showed how he cared for her more, to put her needs and the importance of herself above his own man desires of taking their relationship to the next physical level, and how he was able to hold back those because he knew it would be better for her in the long run. And I think this really spoke a lot about his character. My last quote is, I never hated people, they hated me. During the whole story, Kaya has really tried to be nice to people. That's all she ever did. She never went out her way to be mean to the townspeople, and yet they went out of their way to make sure she was in her place and belittle her any chance they got. And this quote really just stuck out to me as all the pain and suffering they really put her through, and she didn't deserve it. No one deserves to be treated like that. She never had a reason to be treated poorly. The next question is, what was your overall opinion of the book, likes and dislikes? So I personally would give this book a 5 out of 5, or more specifically a 4.9 out of 5. The main reason being the twist was on the very last page of the book, and it's like you read this twist and then you flip the page and there's nothing else, and then you close the book and you're done. That's all you're left with. And I really did want there to be a flashback of her going back and killing Chase. I think that would have been very nice. However, I do appreciate the unknown and the fact that you have to piece together all the different parts from the court case, and how questioning the witnesses is what told the story of her killing Chase. So I do appreciate the fact that it wasn't directly stated. Another thing, I was recommended this book by numerous people in my life, and I thought this was just going to be a coming of age story of a girl overcoming the difficulties of the marsh. I wasn't expecting a murder mystery, and I wasn't expecting the racist slurs, the sexual scenes, the attempted rape scene, or the allusions to self-harm at all. So if you haven't read the story yet, that is a warning that those stories and themes are prevalent. However, I do believe that they were important in moving the story along, and I think they did add a lot of character to the story. I clearly love this book. I believed it left a lot to the reader to think and discuss about, as you can see with this whole video. And the inner dialogue and turmoil that Kaya had, I very much appreciate. I believed it was very realistic and something that I could relate to. Hi, I'm a Libra moon, and I'm very indecisive and ambivalent, and I think about the what ifs. I don't know if I'm making the right decision, and I related to Kaya's character a lot in questioning the things and the people around her and having the constant fear of being left and not knowing whether or not to just keep everyone at a distance or keep your arms open to anyone who's willing to come and give you a hug. The next question is, Kaya was raised with no parent or other constant guardian figure, not including Mabel or Jumpin', so she learned the ways of life reflecting what she saw in nature. Do you think Kaya knew that murdering Chase was wrong, or do you think she was just doing what she saw happening around her? Overall, the question is nature versus nurture. I believe she was just reflecting what she saw happening around her and with the way she was raised. She didn't have a parent, a mother, or guardian figure to help her become a woman. She had to learn the ways to function with other people and function in life based on what she saw animals and animalistic environment. As a person who's lived in human society, we always know you shouldn't hurt people, you should treat everyone kindly, and you definitely shouldn't kill people. And we all believe that that is just something that we should all know, but it's not. Animals don't think, oh, I shouldn't kill this other animal because it's wrong. They think, I gotta do what I need to survive. And I think Kaya was just reflecting that, how she saw the praying mantis eating its own mate after having intercourse, or the female firefly tricking the male into eating him after having intercourse with a different male. I think she was simply seeing that in nature, the women silently dominating over men and doing what they need to survive. Chase had taken advantage of her sexually, and I think she was just doing what she saw happening around her and what she thought was the right and next step to do. The next question is, compare and contrast Kaya to her mom. How do you feel about her mom leaving? Does Kaya react similarly to her mom in other relationships in her life? Kind of going back to the previous question, the lack of her having a figure in her life, I personally think, now hear me out, she wanted her mom to kill her dad, just like she saw happening around her. Now, I'm not saying directly kill him, just end the torment that was happening upon her siblings and herself. After being put in her mom's position, she finally understood why her mom left, but I don't think that answered the question of why she never came back, considering how in nature, how she was raised and what she thought was right, the moms usually always came back. But I do think that once she was hit by Chase and put in the same position as her mom, she was finally able to see life like her mom did, especially whenever she ran away to the cabin. I think she almost went in a depressive and isolated episode like her mom did after her mom left. And during this time, I think this is what made her very impressionable, even more to the things she saw happening around her. And then this is where we see the praying mantis eating its own mate. I also think Kaya takes on the cliche that it's easier to leave someone before you're left, and this is something that she saw her mom do. Her mom's situation was completely different and is understandable to why her mom left. However, I do think after everyone leaving her and her feeling isolated, she learned from those around her, or more so those who weren't around her, and I think this played a big part into why Kaya killed Chase, as she didn't want to relive what her mom did and just become another person in this cycle of leaving and being left. The next question is, compare and contrast the men in Kai's life from Pa, Jody, Jumpin, Tate, and Chase. Alright, Jumpin's character was simply another well-written secondary character that I think could have his own little mini novel written about him. He was very supportive of her. He helped her get money and food and clothing along with his wife Mabel, and they were very supportive of her, and he acted as a father and was there for her that her biological pa wasn't. And he was there for her from when she was young, becoming a woman, and even after Chase's incident, he was the first person she told because she trusted him with that information. And being a victim of sexual assault and physical abuse is not an easy thing to talk about, and the fact that he was the first person that she told clearly showed that she trusted him a lot. He also, during this whole time of practically from a distance raising her, never let race play an issue. He was there for her during her courtroom. He was there for her after Chase's incident. He was there for her, giving her food and money. And during the 1960s, this wasn't a very prevalent thing. And he didn't let the racism or the town's prejudices against her stop him from trying to support her and help her survive. Chase and Paul. Are these even two characters we need to have a Venn diagram for? Because that little center circle would be completely filled up. They are practically copy and paste cutouts of each other. I think that's exactly what their characters are meant to be. They're both women abusers, users, leavers. They did all of it. They were good to Kai whenever they needed her and wanted her to do something for their own self-filling needs. However, whenever she did something that they didn't like or stepped out of bounds, then they left. They are both terrible characters. Now, the next two men I want to compare and contrast are Tate and Chase. Now, I know these characters are really supposed to be foil characters of each other, and it's very easy to tell the difference of these two men. However, if you look a bit deeper, there is something more that connects these two men and make them more similar than we think. And that is the fact that at one point, they both didn't see Kaya as an equal. To explain, Tate, when he saw her on 4th of July and saw how she ducked away whenever another person came by, he realized that he didn't think she was gonna be able to fit well in society and with other people, and so he left. And that's simply what happened. There's no really defending it. And of course, Tate was able to come back from that. He came back and he apologized. He got her publishing company. He helped her after the courtroom. He very much made up for it in a way that Chase never did. However, I do think that it is important that at one point, Tate didn't see her as an equal, just as Chase, throughout their entire relationship, never treated her as an equal or as an equal person to everyone else in the town or in the bigger society. Right, moving on. What are your thoughts on Tate? Do you think he should have gone up to her on the 4th of July or just stayed away like he did? Should he have officially ended it with her or ghosted? In the end, do you think he was able to make up for his mistake? Honestly, I don't know what he should have done. I do believe he could have written her a letter. However, if he went up to her on 4th of July, what should he have said? Should he have just directly told her that he didn't think she was good enough, that he didn't believe that she could have made it, or was it culturally accepted enough to go to college? What could he have said to her that would have made him leaving any easier? Everyone in her life left her. Jody left her, and of course, the only difference between Jody and the rest of her family is the fact that he actually said goodbye, but she still held the fact that he left against him. I don't think him saying goodbye would have made him leaving any easier on her. And honestly, if he had went up to her that day and said goodbye, I feel like that would have made a clear delineation in the ground, and it would have separated the two even more. That if he tried to come back and apologize as he does in the story, it would have been a lot harder to come back from that. And an easy saying you can use for this is, it's easier to ask for forgiveness than to ask for permission, which I know is terrible in this situation. But if he made that clear line saying that he didn't see her as an equal, he didn't think that she could have handled herself with other people, that would have hurt a lot coming from someone that she loved very deeply, and he wouldn't have wanted to cause that pain on her. Whereas if he slowly just drifted away, I think it would have been easier to come back, as we saw in the story. I personally don't know what's the right thing to do. I think it would have been very difficult either way, and I don't think there is a right choice to make, but I do think the way it was done in the story was done very well, and he clearly was able to make up for that fact. However, with the way the story went, I do think he could have at least written a letter officially ending it, or finding better words for why he didn't show up that day. The next question is, how do you think Chase actually viewed Kaya? Why would he keep the shell necklace after 4 years? Alright, so I made up my own character trope, and basically Chase is a Tom Buchanan. If you haven't read The Great Gatsby, which I 100% recommend, I would love to do a discussion, a book club talk on The Great Gatsby. My simple definition of a Tom Buchanan is a character who is a bad guy who may have deeper and or underlying reasons for his behavior that is not directly stated in the text. That last part is the important part, the things that aren't directly stated. These parts are the parts that you can look into and see the deeper meaning to, and it's also my way of sympathizing with the villain, because I like to believe that people aren't just bad for the fact of being bad. I like to believe that everyone is a bit human and has their inner turmoil, and don't just cause and inflict pain on others just for the pure joy of it or for their own selfish desires, or at least that's what I hope. Now, Chase, to rule out everything, it's easy to say that he just saw her as a prize, and wearing the necklace was just a simple and easy prize for saying that he was able to accomplish something that not all the men did. But my other side reasoning for that is, how is that a prize? Everyone viewed Kaya as a trash, disgusting, horrible, barely woman, a very primordial person, and how is flaunting around wearing this necklace a prize? His mom didn't like it, he was married, he was sleeping with other women. Like, how is that a prize to say that you slept with someone who many people view as someone who's not even an equal? How is that something to show off or flaunt? And it is, of course, 100% probable that he just saw this as a consolation prize, but I feel like 4 years is a long time to hold on to something. A very long time to hold on to something, especially after not seeing her for this long. So maybe a part of me wants to think that he found a connection with her that he definitely didn't see with other women at this time, even though he did not appreciate it at all, clearly saying in the story that he didn't care about half the things she was talking about. But I do think he found her interesting and different, and he was very possessive over her. This is another Tom Buchanan trait. He was possessive over her, but why? It could easily just be because of a man's toxic masculinity pride thing, saying that she's mine, I'm the only one who can have her. And it is very plausible, but I really, really want to hope that there's just something more to it, that he saw something more in her, even though he did not treat her right at all. And I am not excusing anything he did to her at all, but I do want to wonder and hope why. I want to hope that he wasn't just a bad character to be a bad character. But it is a very common thing in America for people to take things and claim people or things as their own, even though they have no right to have them. My next question is, as you're reading, who did you think killed Chase and why? As I was reading, I 100% believe Tate did it, without a doubt. With the red beanie, I believe that after she told Jumpin that Chase abused her and hit her, that Jumpin was going to tell Chase, and during the courtroom, if she was found guilty, Chase was gonna Tate. And if she was found guilty, I believe Tate was gonna make this whole big dramatic moment in the courtroom saying, no, I did it because I love her. She's not guilty. But he didn't do it. And that was probably the biggest twist to me. I really believe that he did it, because for everything for Kaya to do it was almost too perfect and well timed out, and like, what are the odds? Like, this book could easily be called How to Get Away with Murder, because everything just happened so perfect and meticulously that I didn't plausibly believe that she did it. I honestly believe Tate did it. So I would love to hear y'all's reasons on who you think did it and why. Continuing, what does Chase's character symbolize, and how does this add to his death? Chase was the epitome of the town. He was the star football player. He worked at his dad's shop. He was the most handsome man in town, and who married the most beautiful woman in town. Kaya killing him is a direct symbolism of her killing her prejudices and overcoming the way people viewed her. Because after the courtroom, whenever she was found not guilty, everyone finally started treating her as an equal after seeing that she's a genius. She was probably smarter than the smartest male in the town. She wrote books and she was an amazing artist. She had so much more to her that no one took the time to actually talk to her or figure out about her. And her finally killing Chase is a direct foreshadowing, is a direct symbolism to her overcoming the challenges the town placed on her. Next question is, what factors led to Kaya killing Chase, and do you think it was justice well done? Now, it is very obvious why she killed him. He took advantage of her. He hit her. He was cheating on her. He was a bad person overall. He completely deserved it in the story. However, I personally want to believe that there was something else that occurred that finally made her just snap. Because after she told Jumpin, she begged him not to make a big deal of it. And I personally, as I was reading, thought it was because she didn't want to get mixed up with it, because she, as she stated, didn't think anyone would believe her. However, this can be explained with the fact that she was already planning his murder and didn't want Jumpin to be accidentally accused of a crime that she was committing. So I do believe that can explain it. However, I personally want to just think that there was something else in there that was hidden between that August to October, November before she killed him. That there was just one more smaller thing or even a big thing that just wasn't directly stated, and I kind of like the idea of that being unknown. Now the big question is, was it justice well done? Now if this was real, if this was a real occurrence that happened somewhere wherever the book took place, either North or South Carolina, if this actually occurred, I don't know if I would think this was justice well done. I personally, in my beliefs and views, think that murder is not okay on any situation or reasoning. I believe that Chase, if he was a real person, should rot in jail, getting it from the behind. But that's my opinion. For the story and symbolically, as we talked about in the previous question, and because it is fictional, I think it was 100% deserved. I think it was amazing with the way it all timed out and planned out, and the way it was organized and set about. I think it was amazing and very well done, and I think it moves the story along. It tells the story and adds a lot of mystery and suspense that makes a reader want to continue reading the story. Now we are on the final question. During Kaya's trial, her lawyer made the jury feel bad for their treatment of her, especially considering her upbringing. Do you think it was manipulative of her to use her trauma and mistreatment to get away with murder? So she never claimed to be guilty or not guilty. She only claimed in the story that she wasn't going to jail. And during the whole trial, she was very disassociated. Her lawyer tried very hard and made it obvious that he was playing the sympathy card. Now, I think this was at first, or maybe originally done to help the jury stay objective. However, when you are talking about such an emotional story, it can easily fall the other way and play in their favor, which is what we saw in the story. However, even after the trial, she even made Jody feel bad about the way she was treated and the way he treated her, and made up many reasons and excuses for how she was treating everyone else. Which I think this is something prevalent in today's America, is that you shouldn't use mental health or trauma or anything like that as an excuse to be a bad person. And here it is very obvious that she was using that as a reason to make people feel bad for her and she ended up getting away with killing someone. I can see how this is a bit manipulative, as she did make people feel terrible about how they treated her, which was deserved 100%, but for the fact that she used it and she did kill a guy, she used it as a reason to get away with murder. Now, if this was real, my argument would be different, but I think because it was a fictional story, it is something that I'm not going to dwell on as much as other questions or other things. But it is something that I think is underlying, something that is prevalent and relates to what's going on in America now, as someone has to die for people to finally realize the mistreatment of a person or a group of people, which is not okay at all. Chase shouldn't have had to die for Kaya to finally be seen as she was, which was an amazing, wonderful individual. I love the story, as I've been saying this whole time. I love Kaya, I love all the characters in the story, as they weren't just so black and white, and the characters felt very real and realistic, and I enjoyed reading this book very much. To conclude this video, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you guys have some great discussions, great things to add to this discussion. Feel free to fill out the form, and I would love to go through and read them. And I hope you enjoy this video, and I hope you have a wonderful day today.